Hey everyone, so here we are inside Age of Joy, the latest version. I'm going to show you around the new version of my attic room. If you haven't used Age of Joy before, there is a bit of setup involved in getting everything to work. You need to put the ROM files inside the downloads folder, and then inside a subfolder for each console. So for SNES 9X, for example, the ROMs would go inside download/SNES 9X. And then you also need the cores, which are like RetroArch cores or libretro cores as they're actually known. And they go inside the cores folder, so you'd need one for each console, for SNES 9X for example, or Swan Station for PlayStation. And then you might also need some BIOS files, and they go inside the system folder. And then finally the cabinet files go inside the cabinets folder. The room that I've made here is actually made up of lots of different cabinets. It looks like a room, but it's made up of 5 different cabinets. So that's why there'll be 5 different zip files, and they go inside the cabinets folder. So let's enter through the spooky door. And also in the post, I've included a teleporter cabinet, which you can put inside the first slot in the lobby area, and it'll be called teleporter room 6, and this will take you straight to room 6, which is where the attic is. So grab a coin from your left hand and just put it in the handle, and you'll be teleported to room 6, and behind the curtain is actually where the attic is. But first of all, you'll have to use the cabinet here, the control cabinet, to actually insert all of the cabinet files into the room, but I'll show you that in a second. First of all, let's actually go into the room through the curtains, and then we'll just stand here for about 3 seconds. That should do it. That's all loaded up. I'm using this on a Quest 3, by the way. Quest 2 may load a little bit slower. So let's go into the room. So this is the new version of the attic, and it's got a few new stations. So we've got Mega Drive, Neo Geo, SNES, ColecoVision, and then PlayStation. And these can be all, everything apart from the PlayStation, they can be switched out for the other versions, which I'll show you in a second. So you'll notice that only one of the videos is playing on this main TV. For performance reasons, I've not put videos on the other ones, and also realism. It would look a bit weird if you're in your room and all of your TVs are playing at the same time. Not very realistic, but it helps with performance because this setup is really pushing the performance of the Quest. It is stable frame rate at 72 from what I've experienced on Quest 3. Hopefully Quest 2 is the same. So let's walk over to the Mega Drive. I've got a chair actually in real life behind me that I kind of line up with the stool, so I can sit down. You can also alter your height kind of permanently in the cabinet, in the control cabinets, but for now I'm just standing up and then I'm sitting down on a chair. So for all of these, you put the coin from your left hand, you put it into the center of the screen for all of them. Your hand will change to the controller for the console, Mega Drive. Then you can play the game as normal. And then for all of these, you can also press the left grab button and the left thumbstick button at the same time to switch to the next game. So I'll press it now, and I'll switch to the next game in the list. And the list of games are in the description YAML file. So this will play Alien 3 now. Yep, great. So hold left grip and right grip to get out of it. Let's go to the next one. Go to the Neo Geo. So sit down here, center the screen. We've got the Neo Geo pad, joystick. It loads up the first game in the list. So again, if you look in the description YAML file, currently I think I've set 2 games for each system. And when you press the left grip and left thumbstick, it'll switch to the next one. And it'll just constantly go rotate through that list. But you can have lots of them in there, so you don't have to get up and leave. You can have lots of different Neo Geo games in here, for example, without having to leave. Let's go to the next one, is the PlayStation. Let's put a coin on the screen. We get the PlayStation joypad. And I think the first one in the list I've put is Wipeout. Yeah. And then if you press left thumbstick and grab again, it'll switch to the next one, which I think is Ridge Racer. Some of the PlayStation 1 games take a little bit of time to load up. If it's a blank screen like this, just wait a few seconds. Yeah, it just takes a bit of time. And to get out of it, as usual, left grip and right grip. Next up is the ColecoVision over here. So it's down here. Put a coin on the screen. Defender comes on straight away. I've got a couple of games in this playlist. There we go. I'll press left stick and grab. Switch to the next game, which is Donkey Kong. Let's leave that one. And then last up is the SNES. SNES pad, yep. Pilot Wings. Switch to the next one. Wild Guns. So let's leave this one now. So that's the new ones. Let's go back to the control cabinet and switch it back to the old cabinets we had in here before, in the previous version. But I have made some updates to them. So I go to the control cabinet. And let's look at the cabinet section, press B. And we can see the names here. I've actually changed the names to make it a bit more obvious. So you can see here we've got R6 is the room, R6, and then S3 is slot 3, so you know which zip file to put into which slot. So in number 3 we've currently got the Coleco. So let's look for the matching alternative. You'll see here. So S3 Coleco, S3 GBA, so the Game Boy Advance one. So we can switch this out by pressing B on save, replaced, yeah. And then let's go to the next one. The Mega Drive is the S4, slot 4. So let's look for slot 4, Dragon's Lair. So it's a Dragon's Lair arcade cabinet. Let's press B on that. And then S5, slot 5, so it's Neo Geo. That can be swapped out for a Metroid pinball machine. Let's press save on that. Oh, the next one is the SNES S6. So we'll switch that out for a Amiga. And then finally we can switch the actual room itself is a slot 7, so that's the big room itself, the casing of the whole model. And we can swap that out for a gun version of the PlayStation, so that'll be a light gun version of the PlayStation. Let's press save on that. That takes a second to do, it's a big one. Let's exit out of that. And then we'll go back to the room. Be quick, let's go inside and we can see everything's changed. We've got the Metroid pinball machine. Nothing has changed with this. You put a coin in the slot and you play Metroid Pinball, which is the DS game, which is a fun game. And then you've got the Dragon's Lair arcade cabinet running on the DS version. Let's put a coin in there. And the only difference this time is you've got a cookie. Nom 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 nom. You can pretend to eat whilst you're playing your arcade game. So let's exit out of that. The PlayStation now will be a light gun version, so coin in the center, and the difference will be you'll have a light gun. So this is a playlist of light gun games, so I think the first one will be Time Crisis, Titan I think. And then if you press trigger and grab on the left, you'll switch to the next one, which will be Die Hard Trilogy. Yeah. So that's fine. Let's exit out of that. Game Boy Advance. You've got a drink, so you can slurp while you're playing, and you can switch through the playlist like before with the stick and the grab button. So that's the Game Boy Advance. And then finally, it's the Amiga. We'll put a coin in the screen, and you've now got a can of drink whilst you're playing your Amiga. And again, you can just switch with the thumbstick and the grip button, and I'll switch to the next game. And that is it for all the old and the new cabinets in here. There is one more that I'm working on, which will replace this bit, and it will be a Vectrex. Having a bit of trouble with the core right now, but hopefully I can sort that out, and there'll be an option to put a Vectrex there instead of the GBA or the ColecoVision. You can also change all of the posters. They're just called poster1.jpg, 2, 3, 4, etc. I think there's 27 or so of them. You can just open those up, replace the images in the JPEG, put it back into zip file, and it'll replace these. And there's also the rug. I think rug 1, 2, 3, 4. You can replace those as well. And if you want to, you can also replace the stickers as well. There's a stickers JPEG, but you might not want to go into that. But you can definitely have a look at the posters. That's it for me.